Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about episode 4 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. So in this episode it starts the day after the last episode. So it starts off with a magic show um, that deals with a guy called Donnie Blaze. Now, we've seen a picture of this guy before, or at least a poster in the past, but we assumed it was going to be Johnny Blaze, not this guy. So this guy is just a run-of-the-mill magician who's trying to make it big, I guess, in California. So the big thing we see here is him doing basic magic in the sense of like what we know as magic, in the sense of sleight of hand, illusions, and stuff like that. What we find out pretty quickly, I should say, is that he was once on Kamar-Taj learning the mystic arts, the same place that Doctor Strange, Wong, and many others had learned. So he uses the sling to create a portal and send this very drunk woman through to another dimension. And it is through that dimension where she happens to stumble upon a demon, otherworldly creatures, other dimensional creatures, and she's able to get herself back to Earth, the human realm, however you want to call it, right? But she lands specifically where Wong is. And Wong and her are talking and everything else, and he finds out exactly who brought her where she was. So Wong is pissed, so he then goes and talks to Jennifer and basically states that he wants to sue and stop this guy Donnie Blaze from practicing the mystic arts because he's causing, well, he has the potential to cause a lot of damage in our realm, and that he could, severely hurt people. So Jennifer's not sure she wants to take the case because there's a lot of stuff that's missing. There's no contract, there's no binding element that makes it so he stops doing magic overall, or that the fact that there is anything that stops him from being allowed to practice the mystic arts. So in the courtroom, the first time, they, they meet with him in person first, and he basically states that, nobody can own magic. It's something that is done, and nobody has ownership of it, so it can't be done, and that they have no case. And so they provide him with a cease and desist, which is supposed to stop him from using the mystic arts. So they challenge the case, obviously, and so it is brought into the courtroom, and Jennifer makes a valid argument and everything else, and they have witness testimony, which is Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but not where you think, which is so bad, and she was drunk in the courtroom, and the whole thing is, it didn't work in Jennifer's favor necessarily, but what they did agree to was the fact that they'd look at the trial more seriously. That being said, they did not warrant the cease and desist to be valid, so therefore Donnie Blaze could continue to provide magic in his shows, because the judge didn't think that there was any real danger involved in what's going on. So this definitely has a more legal tone to it, which we kind of expected because Jennifer Walters is actually a lawyer. So that being said, we also have this little side thing going on where she's trying to get into the dating world again, so she gets an app that's very similar to Tinder, where you swipe right, and she gets like this horrible date as herself, and it just doesn't work out. I mean, he's just the worst candidate in the world. But then she makes a profile as She-Hulk, and she's getting matches like crazy. Very good-looking people, but she's also dealing with, people who are just so self-absorbed. And the way some people are talking to her, like a specimen, it just doesn't make her feel good. And then she meets this one guy who is a physician, and he treats her like a regular person, and it's what she's always wanted. And so she's excited and happy and everything else. And she takes him back to her place, and things start to get a little hot and heavy. And that's when Wong comes in, because Donnie Blaze opened up a portal, released these creatures, can't get them out, asked Wong for help. Wong was having a difficult time dealing with it, so he calls Jennifer, and he realizes why she's not answering the phone, because she's on a date and it's getting very heavy. And so he opens the portal and everything. So we see this humor, because we see that Wong is like, he's like, oh, I feel like a dad walking in on his daughter. And it just makes me laugh, because it's one of those things where he's realizing that he's interrupting something very important. So that being said, she then helps them out. She and Wong kind of deal with the creatures and throw them away, throw them into the dimension that they're from. And she leaves one, and she basically threatens Donnie that he's going to cease his magic because of what he's done, and he's agreed to it. So that being said, that happens, and then she gets back to her date, finishes the night strong, I'm assuming. And the next morning, she makes breakfast, and she's herself. And when the guy wakes up and everything else, he's not a big fan of who she is, and that she's not She-Hulk right now. And so he leaves, and she's kind of really disappointed. But unfortunately, it's the dating life. She made it very clear, dating in your 30s is not easy. With the dating apps and everything else, and trying to have a career and a life at the same time, it's not easy. I mean, something we can or should be able to relate to. Just tough in general. It doesn't make it easy. But that being said, we see this side of her. But the next thing that happens, though, is we find out that Titania, Titania, sorry, she is so there's a big movement of saving her. So it's kind of like save, Titania, and free her and everything else. But it turns out not only that, Jennifer is being sued for copyright infringement because somebody else owns the right of She-Hulk. And I believe we know for a fact that it's Titania, sorry. And that's how the episode ends. So what we know about this is it looks like we're going to be in more of a legal debate right now. So I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing Matt Murdock soon. I'm not quite sure how, but we're going to see him at some point, possibly as Jennifer's defense attorney, which I would think is hilarious. But that being said, we don't know that for a fact. So that being said, we see that the next couple episodes are going to be somehow debating who owns the rights to She-Hulk. Is it a name that you can own, or is it something that she just is and she can be it without a problem? We're going to have to wait to see on that. But overall, I thought this episode was good. There wasn't obviously a lot of fighting in it, but it doesn't need to be, I don't think. We also get to see the side of, seeing the supernatural or superhero or super enhanced world being put through the legal system in a way that definitely has not been done in the MCU so far, where they're actually getting a voice, where it's not so black and white as it was, that they're weapons that need to be controlled by the government, where now we're seeing that they're being held accountable for their actions, but also dealing with things that also are out of their control. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes in the next 2 episodes, but I'm actually happy with where it's going. I like it. Hopefully they continue to do well with it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? And let me know why in the comments. Now, that being said, if you like the content you see here, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.